When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Touring Kart Challenge League. This evening, Season 2 continues with a trip to California as we get set to go from iRacing's virtual Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you all the action from all types of racing, including the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside the booth once more tonight is Arkham Arts racer Braden Laster. Christian Hill is our producer. Working the controls is our producer for this evening's action. Braden, we've seen a lot of action just a week ago when we went to Daytona International Speedway, and now we're headed to the opposite coast. Some say the best coast, some say the west coast. Other than that, it's a very difficult track on hand. What to expect tonight?
Yeah, for sure, East Coast, definitely the best coast if you ask me, but we're California dreaming out here. A little bit of a West Coast swing going on for these guys. We got Las Vegas coming up next week, but Auto Club is a fan favorite by a lot of these guys. They love running the multi-grooves up by the wall, ripping Olympic and run down low if you want. Plenty of lanes to choose from, plenty of banking to carry your speed, and hopefully plenty of passing.
Before we get into more details, I'd like to remind you tonight's action is brought to you by several partners for the Touring Kart Championship, including the Red Mist Podcast, Welcome to Motorsports Podcast, where we discuss F1, IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR, and their own adventures and some more. Also brought to you by Extreme Zone. Delighted to be able to offer thrill seekers several different outlets for high adrenaline fun. Whenever you put the pedal to the metal on a quarter-mile track with 9 turns and speeds up to 40 miles an hour, you prefer the virtual version, you have a chance with sports cars of your choice from hundreds of different tracks. You and your party will have a blast. Are you looking for a new challenge? Well, how about you toss an axe at their new range that features a variety of digitally projected targets from zombies to tic-tac-toe. And by Endurance Karting. Pro Cup Karting, and Endurance Karting were founded in 2001 in separate states, but both shared the vision of fun karting from all levels of drivers without the extreme costs and exhausting work associated with participating in motorsports. Gone are the weeks of participation in trailer hauling, only to have your race end before the checker flag dropped. Back in 2013, Pro Cup and Endurance Karting combined to provide the ultimate experience and arrive and drive kart racing. Just about getting ready to go for tonight's festivities. Let's first talk about what's at stake. We're at the schedule portion of this night, which is just our second race this evening, with Las Vegas a week from now. That date swapped with Charlotte in the past couple weeks. Keep in mind, Charlotte is a full distance, 400 lap, 600 miler. And you still have a lot to talk about, Braden, when it comes to this season. A lot of difficult tracks early.
Yeah, a lot of difficult tracks and a lot of, I guess, interesting tracks too. You got Sonoma Raceway, the short version, coming up in race 6 at 55 laps. And most of these guys in the TKC League have a road course background. So that's where you're going to see a lot of these stars shine. And we don't really go road course racing until the playoffs. You got 15 regular season races. And then after Michigan, we're going to go playoff racing, starting with Daytona as a playoff opener there on August 26th. So Daytona as a playoff opener is going to be very interesting to do a round of 12, round of 8, and a round of 4 style. So a lot to look forward to throughout the season. A lot of good opportunities for guys to win, and hopefully we don't see that same dominance that Seven Hawthorne had a little bit last year. I know most of these guys would love that.
Now, let's talk about what happened last time out, because that was essentially a very, very difficult race for some. But it was 100 laps, the Daytona 250. Seven Hawthorne picked up the dub over David Da Silva. Alex Anderson rounded up the top 3, exiting the night in points. It was an exciting one. It came down to teamwork in the very end for Seven Hawthorne to go 4 for 4 on super speedways in this series.
Yeah, Hawthorne's been absolutely dominant in Super Speedway. I don't think anyone really expected him to not be dominant, but it wasn't really his usual self. He didn't lead until very late in the race. Got lucky with a caution being brought up by his good friend Leonard, who overheated his motor and blew up. So it was very interesting and came down to the wire. So a lot of good runs for those guys. You had Matt Haas in the fence in 8th there, Brandon Devine there in 7th, Mateo Juliano in 6th. A lot of guys got some solid top 10 runs and some great starts, hopefully, to the early going to this season. Some bonus points for the even though they might finish top 10, they might not be 10th in points. But consistency is key. We saw Matt Haas win the regular season championship last season just by being one of the few drivers to make every race. He was consistently there, was consistently turning laps. So consistency here in the TKC League is key.
Very much so. When it comes to a racetrack tonight, we already touched upon some of the background when it comes to what is now in real life called California Speedway, previously Auto Club Speedway, when it was still the 2-mile configuration that's been open since 1997, or was until recent years. All that's left is the front straightaway in real life as it prepares to become a short track surrounded by factories. Now, but for this version, it's 14 degrees, the sister track to Michigan, and this is the bumpier version of the two.
Yeah, this track, like I said, it's really known for its high speed, its high corners, its high grip. It can run up by the wall, it can run down low. Actually, Gilda Farron owns the closed course speed record here at 241 miles in the IndyCar back in, I believe it was 2000 probably even. It was early 2000s at least. But so this track very fast. Now we're not going to be going 240 miles an hour tonight, but we're going to be getting there in the almost a 200 range, going down the back straightaway. So it's going to be very interesting to see a lot of banking and a lot of speed for these guys.
We'll see how the drivers handle set speeds here tonight. We did have a big discussion heading into tonight, though, about one thing. The fuel limit for this evening is going to be a huge talking point, because not only is it a hot track, but it's also only 30% fuel limit. Now, seeing as though normally, when first of all, you have a hot racetrack, it means very, very slick conditions. That's going to be a tough time here. But at 30%, we're talking about pit stops every 13 laps was the projection from the series.
Yeah, they're going to have at least 3 pit stops is how it's going to work out. It's coming at 13 laps apiece. One on about 13, one on about 26, and one on about 39. So it's set up for about 11-lap run to the end. That's assuming no caution. So that also might change depending on how hard to push it. We might see some people maybe try to stretch it to 15 or 16 laps. If you can do that, you might be able to pull away with only pitting twice, especially get a caution to go your way. So a lot of different strategy here tonight. Very quick race. Last season, only 75 laps, about an hour in length, and I think only 1 caution already tonight. 50 laps, a little bit shorter. So it's going to be interesting to see. They can't really bank on a caution this league, especially on intermediates. They don't have cautions. They are a very clean group of drivers. They don't wreck nearly as much as other leagues do. So it's going to be interesting to see. They can't really bank on a caution. I know there was a stretch there last season where we went 3 races almost without having a single caution. So fuel strategy going to be key tonight too.
So the drivers currently finishing up qualifying with the next minute or so, by the way, for tonight's race. We'll see how tonight plays out. Again, glad to have you with us tonight here on Maconi Entertainment. Tonight's action also brought to you in part by Maconi Setup Shop, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more on the iRacing service. Subscriptions available as low as $8 a month. Once again, Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and series sponsor of the now Maconi Setup Shop Fix Series, also known as C-Fixed. So now, we're just about set to finish up the qualifying portion of the night. 18 entrants on the list this evening. All of the drivers, except for Matt Haas, who joined the session late, put in practice times, as well as Giuliano, yet to take a time on track. De Silva did put up a qualifying time. We're about to see, though, how they handle themselves in the race proper, as we have now gone to the qualifying portion being complete, and the drivers' meeting getting set to get underway tonight. We can tell you this, though. It's going to be a tight middle of the field for the session based on the time set in the field this evening. Christian Leonard found a big-time amount of speed for tonight. I will say that, Braden.
Yeah, looking at Christian Leonard, he won this race last season, started third. Tonight he's going to be starting up front and in control from the get-go. So Jake Ennis, he was his biggest competitor, led over half the race, about 60 or 70% of the race last season, is not present tonight. So he's not going to be ready there to take the fight to Leonard. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone's able to step up and do it.
Let's take a look at how they'll start here tonight as drivers finish up their drivers' meeting. It's Christian Leonard who will start on the pole tonight. He starts on the pole by 2/10 over Alex Anderson. David De Silva starts row 2. Alongside them, a new driver for this season so far, Evan Kuskin. He starts off in the 4th position. Then it's Charles Wimbley alongside 7 Hawthorne. 7 had some struggles in qualifying, had a black flag on the 2nd lap. Derek Moore starts on the next page. He's another driver making their first start this season, as there's that battle is for qualifying 5th through about 10th, separated by a 10th of a second. On the next page still, you have Kevin Aguilar ready to start 8th position, Dakota Todd starting 9th, and Jacob Meager rounding out the top 10.
Then you look at that 10th from 5th to 10th and add on about another 10th from 10th on back. Colin Grayson 11th, just a hair off of Jacob Mayer. Then to his outside, going to be Hoyne Cowser in 12th. Brand Devine had a great run in that Daytona. Just a hair off of those two. Then Kabashian going to fall back a little bit outside of Brand Devine in 14th. Matt Haas, that's his regular season champion, in 15th. Riley Skog, currently suffering some connection issues, it looks like, trying to get back in the session. If he gets back in, he'll be in 16th. Mateo Juliano in 17th. Christian Barker got top 10 in this race last year. He elected not to qualify, one of the quickest cars in practice. He is going to be rolling off dead last night.
That's all John Spawner, the winner tonight for TKC National Series competition, as we get ready for the battle of the pit crews and the battle of how not to speed here in California. First things first, a lot of pit stops we talked about, a very difficult track to control, 2 times sun speed, meaning lots of potential changes in conditions. What are your keys to win with so many different variables?
I mean, I think the pit stop game is going to be a huge aspect of tonight, especially if it's less than 13 laps. So some guys are able to stretch a little bit more, and we'll have to just see who plays that game right. I'm sure we'll have someone try a different strategy, maybe go a little bit longer. If a caution comes out, you can throw the whole strategy out the window. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone tries to play a fuel game. They only have 2 sets of tires in the pits as well. So you have to pick choose when you take that first set, and do you save that second set for a late race caution, or when you come down about lap 38, 39, that final time, you throw it on there for that last 10, 11 lap green flag run. So there's a lot of different pit strategies you can get. I don't think you guys have had this many different options to go with. So it's going to be interesting what strategy works. Not just what strategy, but who's able to make a strategy work best to their driving style.
Here's the race analysis brought to you on Maconi Setup Shop on screen. Remember, 50 laps as we just mentioned. 3 tire sets available in the pits as well. Just enough for that. I should actually amend that, Braden. There was a late edit to that to make it just 2 in the pits tonight. So one of your pit stops on fuel, you can't take tires.
Exactly, yeah, and you see that fixed setup, so everyone's kind of on a level playing field. And one faster pair, a little bit different than last season. I don't believe we had any faster pairs last season, so something a little more forgiving, I guess, for these guys. If they get in an accident, going to be not as bad or as crucial in the long run. But I feel like you're going to have to pick and choose, though, which stop you want to take tires. You might come down to that second stop and throw it down the first stop, and then gas on that second stop. There's a lot of different strategies you can go with, and one cost can literally change everything.
Well, we did mention that it's only 30% fuel limit. You're talking about maybe a second and a half of fall off of the course, 13 laps. We're about to really see if we have a super speedway style race here in California, or if this becomes a battle of making sure they do not pop the tires. Just waiting on one more driver to be able to make the starting grid before we get fully rolling off pit lane in Riley Skog. Outside of that, who do you think is going to be able to have the best speed and the best strategy to pick up the dub tonight?
It's always hard to go against Seven Hawthorne. He was a little bit off in qualifying, rolling off 6. But I'm going to go with his best friend, his teammate, his partner in crime, Christian Leonard. Won this race last season, led a handful of laps, and he's always very dominant on the super speedway, or not super speedways, he's intermediates. He won at Kansas last year, won at Auto Club. Most of his wins were on the intermediate style track. He always had a ton of podiums, though, to back up those non-win races. So starting from the front row and first, it's going to be hard to not pick him.
It'll be fun to see how that choice, and for everybody, their strategy choices go here today. Just about in position here. By the way, did you know that TKC is planning an Indy 500? It's that time after all. That's coming up in about a week and a half's time, in fact, Braden.
Yeah, I know drivers, they can head over to their Discord or their social media page and still sign up. So who doesn't love the Indy 500? I'm from Indianapolis myself. It's the month of May. It's a great time to be alive. So very excited for all of that. I'm sure they're going to put on a great show because most of these guys, like I mentioned, have a road course background. And, they come and do the NASCAR stuff as we're seeing here tonight for fun. But IndyCar at IMS is a whole different beast.
Just received word that just prior to the roll-off, the reason we had a bit of a delay there, Skog ended up having a power outage right before the race grid started. So that's why we are down to 17 cars for the start of this race. We'll see how these drivers race it out here from California. We're quite happy with us tonight for TKC National Series section. It's the second race of 2024, and it's all set to go from Next Gen California. It's Leonard starting alongside Anderson. Toyota's all up at the front. Green flag waits at the stand. We're underway from Fontana. Battle for the race lead already back straight away. Anderson just jumped up to the race lead. Several more trying to find their footing in the heart of the field as they go side by side for about second all the way back to about the end of the field.
That Christian Leonard falling back, though, but there's 7 Hawthorne up 4 spots already in an 18 machine ripping the lip on the outside. Gets a huge run off the corner, trying to close the Alex Anderson leading his first lap tonight.
Hawthorne able to use the high side to build the run. He wants clean air and wants it immediately. Now to the bottom, your winner from Daytona. Gonna have to go short distance around. Now there is a tough thing about tonight's race. Top line's great for the straightaways to be able to get a ramp off the corner, use that to build up speed. However, the tire balance is going to be very tricky for some across those seams, or better yet, for what lanes they choose to race on throughout this night tonight.
That's very visible marking on the track as 7 Hawthorne are getting a little bit loose. You can see how much when you get upset the car, how much you have to move up or down the track to try and correct it. They have your entire podium though from Daytona all under a blanket. Alex Anderson, 7 Hawthorne, David Da Silva made it up your podium last week, and now you got Chris Leonard and Charles Wimbley joining the mix. So you got 5 cars really here going at it for the lead. You got Kevin Aguilar and Evan Rakusin as well behind them. So about 7-8 car breakaway here for the lead.
Funnily enough, De Silva was a question mark for tonight. He told fellow drivers it was either race or do homework. He chose to race instead.
I mean, that's obviously the right decision. We talked to him last week. He didn't run full-time previously in the first season. He's looking to run full-time this season. So as much experience as you can get helps out. And, with 12 drivers making that first round, you can honestly miss a couple weeks. It's not as stressful to miss a week, but you also win, they're going to be locked in. But De Silva currently running third. I think he doesn't regret not showing up. He's having a good run so far.
Yeah, already with track position, already about a quarter of the way to the fuel run, if not a third. And amongst those getting shuffled back, Leonard. He is not comfortable amongst those running the bottom. In fact, already under attack by the 46. Kusin running inside. Leonard trying to see if he can do anything from the high side. He loses all the ground yet again. And your pole sitter is already a -6.
Yeah, falling back to that 7th spot here, trying to make up some room. That's Evan Rakuskin to his outside in the 46 machine. The old tan beige machine. Try and make the bottom workload Leonard is. And 2-3 wide there throughout the corner and try and make up as much ground as he can. Maybe he's on a different fuel strategy on coast up though. Go get loose into Rakuskin. Almost came up in an Aguilar. Everyone's able to keep it going though. That was Evan Rakuskin. Going way low down the track. I don't think Leonard really knew where he was out on track or knew that Aguilar was to his outside and it came up and realized last second. So thankfully everyone able to get it back together there.
Yeah, things not going great for his first race of the season in the 46 camp, but up front, Anderson now has the race lead by a sizable portion over to Sylvan Hawthorne. Halfway to the fuel run just about, by the way, and obviously the conversation becomes, how do you manage the fuel with that little amount of gas in the tank?
I mean, you're not going to be pitting, so I feel like tires aren't a huge deal. You got to save a set somewhere, but some guys might be expecting to come down and pit, 5 or 6 laps. They're going real hard on this first run here, and not too worried about saving that much fuel, because they're going to have an extra lap, maybe 2 there because of the way the pit fall. They're going to pit with about 10 or 11 laps to go. We have about 13 in the tank, so we'll have a couple extra laps. They're able to kind of go real hard out here on their fresher set tires, maybe back it up a little bit when you don't take tires, and then go hard there for that last stage. So a lot of different strategies. Going to be interesting to see what works and what doesn't, and it's all going to be dependent on cautions. If you save that last set for a late race caution, it never comes out, then they're going to fall off like an anchor, same way Leonard has. But it gives guys a fighting chance.
Derek Moore, meanwhile, he's looking inside. Able to wrap the bottom, it looks like. Trying to honor Greg Biffle and trying to make moves towards that inside line like him. Going to be very difficult to make the passes low side long term because of that momentum swing. So, yes, indeed, side by side again. Anderson's lost his advantage with the draft. The 67 and 25 are currently side by side up the road as it's 3 wide behind him. Anderson has defended well, while Leonard's dropping back.
Anderson's doing great. De Silva there in second, but here comes 7 Hawthorne trying to take the top spot. 3-car battle for the lead. 3-car breakaway over Aguilar and Wembley. Here comes Aguilar back on the bottom now. These guys are making every lane work and everything. They're getting everything out of their cars. So Christian Leonard's falling all the way back to 6. Alex Anderson, I'm sorry, not Alex Anderson. Anderson's a new kid on the block. Second race this season. Second race in TKC national side of things for him. But David De Silva there in that 3rd spot ran this race last year. Had a couple fast laps. He didn't lead a lap, but he did start second and ran top 10 for an incident late in the race. So De Silva going to be another one to watch here tonight.
Still keep an eye on that group where Leonard has dropped to still, by the way. On his pace so far. Pit stops coming up. There's the look of the leaders. Hawthorne trying to run the 3rd line. De Silva the bottom line. Same can be said for Anderson. 7's been trying to switch it up. No way to pry off Anderson from the wall yet. He elects to save fuel for now.
Got a couple guys all in a line here. Able to save a little bit of fuel by getting in the drafting train there. Looks like a little trouble for Wembley. Just not able to quite send it in the corner like everyone else is. And he's losing a ton of time that way. Kristen and Derek Moore all making up time on him. And here comes Derek Moore in that Greg Biffle tribute scheme we were mentioning a little bit ago around Brandon Devine for the 7th position. But Charles Wembley not quite able to hold the entry as much as he'd like, I feel like.
Devin Hawthorne just held it though. Anderson, his tires have fallen off. He's also tapped the wall a couple times. Devin Hawthorne, race lead for the first time here tonight. Pit stops on the verge of seeing a swarm of cars. Anderson going for another slider back yet again. You know who's quietly in the midst of all this in fourth? Kevin Aguilar up 4. He's in the conversation to battle for third pretty soon.
The Aguilar's been kind of minding his own business,
Oh!
off the draft.
Contact for the race leaders. Anderson trying to side trap, bounces off of Hawthorne instead. Now he goes back low side. When do they put the hands out the window? None this time. Anderson clears on by at the bottom yet again.
I think you're going to have to try and stretch it as much as you can. Devin Hawthorne, though, got 4th in this race last season, started 6th, led 1 lap, trying to lead a couple more than he did last season tonight. But they'll try and go back-to-back for him. We are catching lap traffic slowly but surely. It's Colin Grace. Colin Grace had an incident back on lap 2, got loose coming off of turn 4, went through the grass and stopped for a complete second. I'm not sure why, but he's lost a ton of time in the process, and he's about 30 seconds off the leader. So depending on how this pit cycle goes, they might catch him.
Pit stop window opening. The 8 car of Haas has just indicated they will need to come in this time. No other signals, though, as we start lap 13. Now this is allowing Aguilar to take some peeks. But Aguilar, amongst those still boxed in the draft train. Draft is huge. Draft lock is a conversation point here.
Yeah, big conversation point. Another conversation point we're going to have to watch is speeding on pit road. Matt Haas had a beautiful entry. I'm not going to lie. It was one of the greatest green flag pit entries I've ever seen. He's going to be one of the first guys down pit road. Maybe change it up a little bit. He was running outside the top 10. So Matt Haas first on the pit. Looking at the call, no tires, just fuel.
Somebody had to make it. Hawthorne just indicated very late they're pitting this time by at the end of the racetrack. Anderson's doing the same. Now, here's the thing. You said beautiful pit lane entry for the 8 last time by. It wasn't as beautiful for these two. They just held each other up and lost a lot of time entering the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a late call. They didn't expect it. Anderson trying to match 7 Hawthorne, though. It's going to be interesting to see who takes tires and who doesn't. They're going to be quicker on tires, 100%. But you also, if you saw the pit time there by Matt Haas, only 6 seconds by not having to take tires.
Will they elect to go on the jacks this time? It looks like the choice is no for much of the field. Already looking like fuel only the main talking point for every contender so far. 6-7 seconds in the box.
Silva almost wrecking on pit road. He's going speed. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Silva about wrecked Kevin Aguilar and Christian Linder there. Completely missed the entrance. And that was absolute insanity. David De Silva in the 25 machine pit from the lead. And I don't know how we didn't just have the big one there on pit entry. I did get a black flag. Heartbreak for David De Silva.
Now the damage you might notice there on the 25, he did that back straightaway, Braden. That was a disastrous in-lap in general for De Silva. Got loose, slammed the wall back straightaway, then pit lane, nearly crashes, and someone just missed a pit stall by a good dozen stalls. Dakota Todd just about getting a black flag for going backwards on pit road right now.
Yeah, this isn't going anywhere near as good as most of these guys would like. Going to be interesting to know who cycles out and who doesn't. Do you see a lot of guys coming around their leaders as they're coming out of pit road? 7 Hawthorne, one of the highest running drivers up to speed. Charles Wimbley in front of him, though. So Wimbley just fueled. Look at everyone but they have Kevin Aguilar on tires, Evan Rasmussen on tires, and Mateo Juliano on tires, and Christian Barker on tires. So everyone but those guys fuel only. So it won't be interesting to see who perseveres and who has some speed for this middle run here.
So here's your strategy call. Anderson and Leonard, along with Divine and Wembley, are your top 4. Tires for Kuzin, for Aguilar, Giuliano, Barker, and Todd. Most of the field electing to save a set of tires on the pit lane. De Silva and Todd have the black flags. Dakota Todd picked up an additional black flag for his pit exit after the long roll to the pit lane to get to his stall. So now, the draft is broken for the 67. He's running away.
Now, when you don't have second place right behind and putting that pressure on, you're able to kind of run your own line, run your own race. So it's going to be interesting to see where the guys like Aguilar, Juliano, spark or kind of cycle through in that fresh rubber. They're not going to really be in the picture this run, but after everyone comes in for their second stop, I'm assuming they don't take tires that stop. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to pick up some speed and kind of level out. We might see them towards the end of this run, but they're going to lose 7-8 seconds on pit road, and currently highest running of the drivers that choke tires is Evan Rasmussen in 10th, about 10 seconds off of their leader. The time difference, though, he is turning identical lap times as their leader. A little bit quicker than the rest of the guys in the top 10, but as far as Alex Aronson's concerned, he's got this one in the bag.
He's running up to 3/10 quicker than the battle you see on screen because of some of the squabbling. 1 way quicker, Divine drops a spot, and that moves the 3 into P3. Of note, Carmen Grace just had a technical issue. He was already down a lap. He's down multiple as a result of a technical blip. Everybody else now settling in for the next pit stop when around the halfway mark. So now it gets tricky from here because you lose somebody's draft. It's so hard to get to the next pack.
Yeah, you almost have to work together, build a train, able to make some magic happen. It's almost like Daytona. You have to work together with friends and teammates. And looking at the closest battle right now, it's 3rd and 4th, Charles Remedy in the 3 car and Brandon Devine in the 57. So these two, to see them on our screen, have been kind of going back and forth, building runs off each other, building momentum. They're able to kind of close up a little bit to Christian Leonard, but not by much. Meanwhile, Alex Anderson, with no one really behind him to suck up or no pressure to put on Alex Anderson, is able to pull away and just kind of run his own race at his own pace.
This will be a pattern we'll see throughout the day. The more pit stops we have, the more separation amongst the drivers. Skill levels really start to separate things out, but also more so the confidence pit entry and pit exit. The more confident you are, the better likely through the strategy. But you also have the chance of speeding penalties, so you have to make sure you're not overconfident, as some would say. Now, 7 Hawthorne, we talked about that whole sequence of getting held up, did not have a great sequence in general and all of that. He's stuck in 5th with very little draft. He's just trying to keep up to the 57's toe in this.
Yeah, they got a couple guys, like I mentioned there, Devine and Wimbley trying to all work together. Hawthorne trying to get some draft off of Brandon Devine. And you can make up about a second half of the better pit cycle. So some guys might realize, hey, we messed up there. We didn't quite have the greatest entrance. 7 Hawthorne and Anderson were 2 of those drivers. Mainly Hawthorne, though, to see the gap there. He's right on Anderson's back bumper going in. A couple laps later, 4 seconds off. And that's because I think he had that more bad, worser entry. So pit, when they're going to be pitting this much, green flag pit cycles and nailing it's going to be, I think, a huge key to success here because you can make up a ton of time on pit road.
Here's a look at one of the battle packs that are starting to hang up around 9th. This is Meager, Kusin. You have Holing Kauser trying to bump trap. Knew he bumped himself into the door of the 46. Able to keep it clean, though. Now this is where a lot of different strategies are starting to converge a bit here. You have tires for the 46, everybody else on old rubber, and that's still not equaling a pass down the straights.
Yeah, Rakusin able to kind of build a little bit of a buffer here, being able to just kind of go out here and just patch these guys easy peasy lemon squeezy. It took him a little bit, about 5 or 6 laps to get heat in those tires compared to everyone else. You mentioned he was on pace with like Alex Anderson, their leader, and that was about it, quicker than everyone else. Now he's constantly about half a second quicker though than their leader, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but nonetheless quicker. And when they pit here in 3, 4, 5 laps, he's not going to take tires, able to get out of his pit stop about 7 or 8 seconds quicker. Right now he's 7 seconds off the lead. So they're going to be slower than their run, and depending on what Rakusin does and what everyone else does, it's going to be interesting to see where they cycle through.
Interesting enough, the newcomer when it comes to all this, who's now started to break away from this pack on the tires, he has a lot of experience in the real world, not just when it comes to karting, but in general, because he won a 2018 karting championship, but also is a licensed driver in SCCA club action. He's a licensed crew member as well for Spec Racer Fords. He also runs World Formula Racing karts for about at least 10 years now. That doesn't include the fact that he spends a lot of time building people's flight simulators for various companies. In fact, he spent several years as an engineer for Bose, the music company, and the speaker company.
I hope he didn't build any Boeing planes.
No, that's a different company. My goodness, that's not even close to the same company.
No, we're going to see some disastrous strategies here playing out for Anderson. So far, everything's great for him. Leading Christian Leonard by over half a second. We're going to see pit stops start to form here in the next couple of laps. Coming up on the halfway point, though, in the next lap and a half or so for Alex Anderson.
Yeah, my goodness. Oh, that's wow, by the way. His pace has got him right about where he was at right about the pit stop window in about a lap and a half's time. Matt Haas, with the fuel load though, and the undercut, even with the no tires, did pick up a solid amount of track position. He's up 8 this race, and he's in the wall.
Well, that's one thing you gotta love about Matt Haas there. It seems every time we go to him, some bad luck occurs and he manages to put himself in the wall. Don't worry, Matt, we didn't see that. But he was the first one to pit there, trying a little bit different strategy. Had a great entrance, like we talked about. Great stop. Had one of the quickest stops last time throughout the cycle. I believe actually the quickest stop outside of a couple people, but he's going to be the first one to pit this time down at the halfway mark.
Not a surprise with him going about a lap early on the first pit window. He's going to be a lap early for most of the rest of the race here unless he gets a caution to equalize for now. We'll see when he elects to take the tires at this point as the field tries to sort itself out. Halfway point already. Alex Anderson, Christian Leonard did close the gap here before the end of this window now, Braden, to under 2/10 on track as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who's able to win the battle off of pit road. I expect this to come down not this lap, but next time by. It's been just at 13, 14 laps. As they're going to have 7 Hawthorne pitting from 4th. A couple other guys come down with him.
So 2-tire call indeed for the 8 machine. Does that open the idea for strategy for many more? Let's find out, because 7 Hawthorne is in. Also in is Derek Moore. Window was open. Already drivers have received warnings on pit boxes here tonight. They can only run through so many before a drive-through penalty, and drivers are making sure they don't follow all of the boxes and run them over.
And they don't want to be that guy, so they do have an off-track admin. So you always want to be careful when you got an off-track admin, because they do not hesitate. They got all the time in the world to go back and look at that 7 Hawthorne. 4 tires looks like for him, and fuel able to get out fairly quick. Not a bad stop at all for 4 tires of fuel. It's gonna be very interesting though to see where these guys not taking tires are going to cycle through here.
Leonard stays out. Anderson is in this time by with Wembley, along with Meager, along with Bowser, or Cowser should say. So, let's see who ends up rolling the dice. We've got a 2-tire call already on the track. We've got 4-tire calls. We still have no fuel or no tire calls from a couple people in this field. It's 4 tires for most of the field except for Matt Haas so far.
Yeah, but Haas is always a driver you like to see. He puts a lot of hard work into running this thing, making sure everything goes great, and also isn't scared to try a different strategy at all. Aguilar having to check way up from Tejuliano about misses an entrance line. Just didn't really know where it was at. Looked like had to speed up, go, speed up, go, speed up, and go. So, but everyone currently though on track, Anderson should cycle to the lead, judging based on how I'm looking at it. Evan Rakusin's going to have to come out right now. He is. Just fuel for him. He took tires that first stop, just now exiting pits. Here comes Anderson through the tri-oval. So it's going to be a battle for the lead, I feel like.
We'll see. It's going to be a big separation, in fact, for the net lead for now by 2-3 seconds on the racetrack. That's how good Anderson's been short run here today. He's on the 4 tires as well. We do have, interestingly enough, a possible cycle ahead that you're referring to even more so. Ahead of him, the 2-tire call, the last time by Rakusin. He is right now in the net lead fully by 4 seconds.
Yeah, we talked about him not taking tires. He didn't take any tires the last time by. He was in and out in 6 seconds. He took tires the first time back on lap 13, so he was able to come out and build a. He was, like I mentioned, he was about 7 or so seconds off their leader when they came into the pits, but not having to take tires. You save 7 or 8 seconds though. just by virtue of not taking tires. So they're looking at their pit stops. I mean, 8 seconds quicker than Anderson's because of the tire cycle. So Brand Divine coming out of pit right now. Same with Leonard, who just came out of pit. So they're going to be interesting to see Leonard going cycle side by side with Anderson. It's a battle for second. As Brand Divine actually is slow rolling. Brand Divine's out of fuel on the backstretch.
How did he do that? Divine just pit. Did he forget to put the fuel in, or rather, did his pit crew forget to put the fuel in?
He didn't stop, it looks like. He stopped in his stall, missed it, had to go backwards, and looked like he was going to get a penalty, and just told him to gas up and go. So, Brand Divine, unfortunate end of the night for him, he's going to have to tow, and that's going to take him a couple laps down.
By the way, Dakota Todd with his third black flag of the race in 2 pit stop cycles. And let's see. Yeah, you mentioned he didn't stop. Let's see him try and sort, where is my pit stall?
He's going to play the where's my pit stall game, kind of like where's Waldo. Drive by it, put in reverse, Terry, put in reverse, back up, and we'll see it all play out here in the Genshin number 57 card. Divine's always a great guy to talk to. But he's going to take a hard left here and realize there's a stall right there. He just passed it, realized he missed it, put in reverse, Terry, back it up, and still hasn't started backing up yet. And as he's doing it, iRacing throws a curled black flag. You're saying, hey, stop, don't do that. You're going to get disqualified. It panics Divine. He then puts it in first. That's a sick little burnout there, and it's time to get going, and he's going to run out of fuel with exiting pits.
Wow.
4 stalls.
How do you miss it with pit box number 5 for those coming into the pit lane?
Some people only have 4 fingers. I don't think Brand Divine has 4 fingers. But, I don't know. Maybe he forgot to count with his toes or something.
Yeah, that's a good point. After all, there's always the conversation that the best way to add things up is make sure you take your shoes off and your socks and use your feet as a calculator. Please don't do that unless you really need to. Now, in all seriousness, drivers are trying the apron a little bit like Meager here to try and close up for 7th. Aguilar has dropped back on the strap because he is on old tires. So his play earlier on seen him fade from being in the top 5 to start the race.
Let me tell you, I like this strap for Rakuzen because he's going to come down and pit road here. I'm assuming probably take tires in a handful of laps and be able to go all out that last 10-lap run and might be able to catch back up to Anderson if Anderson doesn't take tires, but it's kind of forcing their hand here. Right now has a 3-second advantage to Anderson. Anderson on the fresher tires, 3-4 tenths quicker, but he's battling with Crystal Leonard, which is really hurting them both in that battle for second. But if Rakuzen takes tires and Anderson doesn't and Leonard doesn't, and a caution comes out in 3 or 4 laps, Rakuzen can then stay out and inherit the lead that way. So I really like the strategy call from Evan Rakuzen.
Great chances for him to win on debut, at least for the season. Here tonight, near contact Leonard trying to side draft. This is for second. They're still both faster than your current leader midway through their fuel runs here. But they aren't really working with each other. Let's put it that way. Their Toyota's saying, let's go brawling down the front straightaway.
Yeah, if they were working together, actually drafting each other, might be able to make up a lot more time. They tied actually to the thousandths that last time by, both 2.539 seconds off of the leader, Evan Rakuzen. But if they would draft and kind of sneaks out one another, they make up a ton of time. But because of this battle for second, Rakuzen's only a tenth or 2 slower when they should be over half a second faster than Evan. So gonna be interesting to see the final stages of this one how the strategy works out. And I don't think they're doing themselves any favors at all. Estimated about 4 or 5 laps here for Rakuzen. If the gap is big enough, I mean he can try to come down.
Hold on, we have. Oh, pardon me, I was about to say, we have 2 cars that look exactly like each other tonight. 7 Hawthorne and Colin Grace. I just thought 7 Hawthorne tried to undercut the field. Apologies there for cutting in on your point, but I was going to say, strategy. I'm sorry?
You always got to try something different with Colin Grace, so 5 laps down. Not going his night.
Hey, you never know if you're going to have the magical lucky dog that rains from the sky and you somehow get lucky dogs. What gets 20 cautions and you're able to set it up 15 laps.
Here comes Evan Rakusin in from the pits. Early stop. Oh, butchers the entry. Overshoots and slows way down. Slowed all the way down to about 30, 40 miles an hour. A lot more than they needed to. Black flag for Colin Grace for speeding, I'm presuming. But it's going to be interesting to see what the strategy calls for Rakusin to take tires, no tires.
This is an interesting one with just 9 laps through the stint. Going to the pit lane. Remember, this is part of his job in the day job, and he misses part of the pit stall. 2 tires, remember, that kept in the lead before. He's taking those same right sides here. Does he go 4 tires, or does he just take the 2? He's taking the 4.
I think he's trying to give himself as much time as possible to get heat in the tires. You saw that he pitted that first stage, took the tires, and it took him a little bit to get heat in the tires and make up time. So he's trying to give himself as much of a gap as possible here. This time, though, he's pitting from the lead and not way back in the pack. So going to be interesting to see where everyone cycles through. Here comes everyone else down pit road. Matt Haas down pit road. He has 17 behind him. Derek Moore. A couple others, Mateo Juliano as well from the 12th position.
Juliano, by the way, black flag on his pit entry. Haas this time taking the right side tires on the 8 machine. He's been trying to be smart on the strategy on 2 tires all day, like it's Daytona. This is not Daytona, unfortunately. The fall off is already, for many people, 1 second today in some places. Let's get a car 87 black flag for pit entry.
So Matt Haas, though, number 8 machine, going to come out, it looks like, in front of Rakusin, barely. But Rakusin on the fresher left sides and right sides should be able to fly by him when he catches him here. But I think being a little quicker on the pit stop by not taking left sides, about 6 seconds, you're going to see him on pit road there. Matt Haas able to tentatively inherit the lead.
Side by side, right now Anderson right up to his expected pit mark next time by. Now it's Leonard trying to play some defense here. They've been fighting a little bit hard now that things have closed up between them a little bit again. Now expecting to hand out the window for the 67. It's lap 14 for the completion of their stint this time by. There's the hand out the window.
Yeah, maybe a hand, maybe a finger, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on the way these two have been racing each other. Gonna be interesting, though. You want to typically enter with a ton of room, able to slow yourself way down, but side by side, bumper to bumper, it's not the way you want to do it. Here comes Anderson. Leonard, though, is going to stay out. Maybe give himself a buffer next time by. But Anderson going to come on down pit road, him and David De Silva, a couple other guys. As of right now, it looks like Matt Haas over Evan Rakusin is going to take the lead as far as the speed difference on those order left sides. Matt Haas over half second slower.
So let's keep an eye on the stopwatch with under 10 laps to go. Leonard can go another lap or so if he chooses. He does have Seven Hawthorne, his teammate, right alongside, who's already completed pit service. It looks like Leonard, at the least, gonna go the one more lap, try and stretch to 14. Drivers doing a good job to stretch to that extra lap, it seems, compared to the start of the race. Other windows here.
Looks like fuel only for Alex Anderson, so even if he's going to make up a ton of time, he's going to lose a lot of time on track with only 7-8 laps to go. He's trying to slow, I guess, the bleed and not give these guys a chance to catch up. If caution comes out, though, it'll be very detrimental for him. Matt Haas and Evan Rakusin currently coming off of turn 2 right behind him. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to cycle through.
Right now, your net leader is still Anderson. Now here comes Leonard. This is the money stop. The 43 tonight, 10 laps led, has been in the heart of it when it comes to the battles, able to just avoid the speeding penalty. So, last time Leonard went to the pit lane, we've seen him try something a bit different on the strategy. Didn't get up to the leader on track, but got side by side with Anderson. He's got to counter. He's got to go fuel only, right?
I think you got to imagine you were side by side when you came in, able to take a little bit less fuel by running that extra lap. Although, look at the times, you can't select exactly how many gallons.
Oh, no!
Stall! Now the traffic for Christian there has to back up twice. That's going to cost him a ton of time. Now you almost have to go fuel only. No right sides it is. almost 2 seconds, so quicker of a stop for Christian Leonard. Alex Anderson crossing the line now. They're going to be side by side coming off the pit road.
Half a fuel load, and that mistake's going to absolutely cost him, because here comes Anderson. He passes to the outside. Now it's Leonard shuffled to net second and to official second. It's down to these two for the win. Can Leonard some way find a way to close back up the gap? He's going to need a lot of speed here. They have 7 Hawthorne, though, who is within range to help Anderson, or rather better yet, Leonard, pretty soon.
Yeah, I can't believe the way it's going to cycle through. We're going to exact time at the line here, but Alex Anderson going to inherit the lead, though, through a better pit stop. 1.4 seconds to Leonard. So just at 5 to 6 laps, I don't think he's going to be able to get there. Doesn't really have any draft in front of him. He's got David De Silva a little bit in front of him, but not really in prime drafting position. So 7 Hawthorne's about second half back, not really able to help him there. That's also battle for position. So I think Alex Anderson's got to drive away and hope he doesn't see that yellow flag.
So fuel only up at the front, and in second, 2 tires for Hawthorne. Cruising on the 4 tires. He's currently 5 seconds back of this. Not a lot of time with 5 laps to go. Who's got the right call on the strategy? Right now it's Anderson with clean air. However, Leonard not only has a chance to draft with some people, he has a teammate to try and hook up with who is separated from him by just 1 lap car with 4.5 laps to go.
He's also caught the back bumper of David De Silva under half second, now using him for draft. He's closed the gap up about 3/10 at last time by. Going to be 4 to go, and they cross the line. He's running out of time, but he is quicker.
4 to go officially, this time by. Right now, there's no distance between Hawthorne and his teammate. Last time by, it was Leonard at Daytona who helped Hawthorne in a time of need. Now Hawthorne's in position to help Leonard in a time of need. They still have to get around De Silva, though. The gap is still 1.1 seconds.
Hawthorne might be able to get there. He's over a half second quicker than both. He's going to give a bump to Leonard, though. Huge bump drop down the back straight for Leach to make up a ton of time. Going to pick up 2-3 maybe. But Hawthorne last time by has been over a half second quick on the right side tires, able to make up a ton of time through the corner. It's going to be coming to 3 to go this time by.
Silva being told stay high side by the race leaders. Leonard now getting a lot of help from Hawthorne. Gap is down to 8/10, 3 laps to go. Now down to 7/10, make it 6/10 with a corner entry. De Silva not backing off easily, but they are now close and able to clear up by, in fact, Hawthorne in line to try and push. No, De Silva keeps it outside.
De Silva's going to cause Hawthorne to check up there. They didn't want to put themselves in the wall. Hawthorne not able to get the back bumper of Leonard. They're going to be able to close up a little bit low. They're a little bit quicker than Anderson through the corners, able to carry a ton of time off. 2 to go this time by for Alex Anderson. But here comes Christian Leonard, 7 Hawthorne, hot on his trail.
Lap traffic still fighting with the battle for second. Leonard and Hawthorne hook up again. Down still 7/10 to the race lead. Down to 6/10. Can they get it down close enough to make a lunge is the question. Hawthorne trying to build up the run. Leonard trying to line up the bumper in front.
They're able to go 6 miles an hour quicker down the straightaway. Christian Leonard was 200 flat going into turn 1 that time by. Right now, still 3-4 miles an hour quicker. Able to make up a ton of time, though. Alex Anderson going to see the white flag this time by. They're in drafting distance. They're there.
It's going to be one of those classic California finishes here in Fontana. White flag is out. Final time around here on Maconi Entertainment from Auto Club. The block is on for Anderson. The run is up from Leonard. Here comes the push from Hawthorne. They go through 1 and 2. Now to the outside is Hawthorne. He's now trying to battle for second instead.
Hawthorne going to try to build momentum off the high side, close up on Anderson. He's going to get a huge run off the corner. Anderson up to the wall to block. Now going to try to go low, maybe block Hawthorne. Hawthorne looking high on the bumper. To the bottom. Here comes Chevy Hawthorne for the win.
He slides. He sends it to the apron. He clips the white line. He tries to slide. They both slide. Hawthorne still clears. Anderson keeps it off the wall. Checker flag win. Leaves second straight week. It's 7 Hawthorne who wins it.
Alex Anderson led every lap in the last 15 there except the one that mattered most. He's going to turn himself in the inside wall, and a heartbreaker for Alex Anderson. He knows he lost it. I don't think there's anything he could have done differently there, though. I mean, Hawthorne and Leonard played the teammate game as best as they could. They caught up. They bump drafted at a track you typically can't bump draft, and they made it work.
So for 2 straight weeks now, it's 7 Hawthorne who's on the pace and who's able to come away with the race victory here. Another last lap move. And yet again, teamwork with Leonard makes the dream work.
I mean, you saw it there. You saw it live here on Maconi Entertainment. Saw how much they were able to make the bump drops and close up over half a second, sometimes a lap, 4 or 5 miles an hour down the straightaway. But heartbreak for Alex Anderson. Almost wins in his rookie season, second start ever in the TKC National Series, and heartbreak.
But it's elation for 7 Hawthorne tonight. The 18 for the second straight week is a winner in TKC. He does it by just over a 1/10.5 here tonight. Celebrations underway here for TKC National Series action. It's 7 Hawthorne who gets the unofficial race win here from California. On that note, we'll take a step aside at the end of the burnouts. When we come back, post-race coverage from Fontana. You're watching Maconi Entertainment.
Want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to tonight's action here from Maconi Entertainment and from Fontana, California. Justin Burt's, Braden Laster with you. Christian Hill, our producer. Let's take a look at the results here tonight for TKC. Here's a look as that was your qualifying order coming into tonight. The race order tonight, it shuffled a fair bit. 7 Hawthorne, in the words of some, being compared to Kyle Busch, back-to-back wins to start the season. Anderson and Leonard, your top 3. Cruising on debut in 4th. 5th goes to Wembley. Then it's Meeker, along with Haas, along with Moore, Kauser, and Aguilar, your top 10.
Yeah, great run there for a couple guys, including Matt Haas. So it's glad to see those guys back-to-back top 10s. Ryan Kabashian, though, going round out in 11th. We didn't talk about him a whole lot tonight. He literally bought this track about an hour and a half before the race. So good Auto Club debut for him, bringing home in one piece. Mateo Juliano, first car won that down in 12th. Christian Barker, 13th. David De Silva ran top 5 most of the night. Speeding penalty though late, and this one's going to hurt him big time too. That down to 14th. Brand Devine in 15th. Dakota Todd in 16th. Colin Grace in 17th. And Riley Skog, technical issues, is going to put him 51 laps down in 18th.
That's all top to bottom at the running order here tonight from iRacing's virtual Fontana-based Speedway. Let's take the opportunity now to talk with your front runners here tonight. First things first, 7 Hawthorne standing on by 7 for the second straight week. You get it done, and you get it done on the last lap. Talk us through those moments as you go for the battle for the race win.
I can't believe it. The fact that we was able to get in that position to win is just incredible. The first pit cycle, I slid the tires and slid through my box, and I was like, it's over because it was so hard to gain time here. But 43 car came out in the right time, and what was going to push him up there? You know, he's pushed me a lot, so I said we're going to push him up there, get up there, and get one of us to win. And on the white flag going into 1 and 2, I got a huge run on the outside, and I was able to just stick it under the 67 going in 3 and 4, and I was able to stick. I don't think he took tires. I think that's the reason why we were faster. But a great race by this 18 team. Going 2 in a row, solidly put us way out in the points lead. Hoping to continue the momentum for the 600 next week.
That's actually the week after they had that switch, believe, in that regard. Well, either way, that's in a couple weeks' time. But how tricky was this race? Because it's 50 laps, not that many laps, but a lot of pit stops. What was kind of the thoughts of the prep going in and finding we don't have a lot of gas in this car?
Yeah, in practice, we figured it out. At first, I thought I may have messed up something. I thought, like, should I leave the car running too long before I went on and ran laps? But yeah, it was crazy with the pit stops, having to pit that many times. It was really weird, and we only had 2 sets of tires, so we'll have to double stint on the first stop and not take tires and, you know, take fuel only and then pit. But I had the idea to take 2 tires because, you know, it would have been faster than not taking any tires, and I'm just glad it all worked out. But I hope next time we go to Auto Club, we'll have a couple more laps.
There is a chance next time that we're at that track, it's a short track, but we'll have to see over time. That, in all seriousness, though, leads to Vegas next week. Your thoughts on going to Sim City?
Well, you know, I've statistically been really good at Vegas in a whole bunch of games. So, yeah, there's no reason why we can't go out there and get 3 in a row. I'm gonna go out there, gonna do my best to win the race and do my best to get the 43 car as a good finish as I can. And yeah, we'll go out there, and if we win that race, we'll party.
All right, on that note, anyone you want to thank before you go to tonight's party?
Just all my sponsors, Monster Energy. This Toyota was a monster tonight. It's lightning fast. Thanks to the 43. He stayed up there, gave me the draft, and was able to push and catch the 67. Thanks to everyone at Maconi, TKC that put on these events. Have a blast here. Thank you, guys.
Once again, that's 7 Hawthorne who picks up the win tonight here on Maconi Entertainment. Second spot tonight. I'm interested in the backstory because, for those who don't know, Discord has added ways to say what your status is, and apparently Alex Anderson's status after losing is Ben. He's with Braden instead.
Yeah, Alex, you led very early on, and that is very late in this race. All of about the last 2,000 feet. Talk us through their emotions on that one.
Well, first I figured I might as well explain the status. That's just a picture of me that one of my friends screenshotted off a FaceTime picture, and then the name is just like the Talking Ben character, like Ben. It's just that. But as far as the race, I mean, I don't know. I guess frustrated is the best word to use for lack of something more creative. It really sucks when you run the race of your life. Again, how many laps did I lead? I led
You had 29 laps.
29
over half the race.
Yeah, over half the race led, and you lose it in the final feat because of second and third would rather help each other than race each other for it. So, I don't know. It just sucks. Second for 2 weeks in a row. Or no, actually, I got third last week, but hell, I would have been happier with third, honestly. Second's always just the first loser, and that's just where the 67 car ended up at the end of the day, I guess.
Yeah, coming into the night, you talked about, you got that podium finish last week. You got third. You were about 5 points off of Hawthorne and 4 points off of De Silva in second. They're definitely going to clear De Silva, and they're actually going to get some bonus points on Hawthorne by leading the most laps. So talk us through kind of building a season-long points battle. I mean, you have an average finish of 2.5 in two races, so you got to be pretty respectable.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. I'd definitely rather it be sevens and have just straight up one, but um, I don't know. Hopefully, this will just keep the momentum coming. We can just keep getting some solid finishes. Hopefully, get first one of the season eventually, and not lose it like that. Yeah, just hope we can build off this next week. Vegas is next week, should be pretty fun. Charlotte after that, and then Martinsville. I'm gonna say straight up right now, Martinsville ain't gonna be good for me. I'm not good at that place. Yeah, I'll just try my best. Hopefully, we can make up some points.
Yep, for sure. Anybody want to thank around to this second place run tonight?
Well, definitely my parents. Obviously, it's gonna be a thing every single week. If I get an interview, first people I'm gonna thank my parents. You just get used to it if I'm up here. That's just where it's going. But other than that, definitely the guy that designs all my paint schemes, including the one that I was running tonight. Davin Cornelius. Some of you may know him as Drive Through. Really nice guy. Makes some really nice paint schemes, and that's what I've been using out here tonight. Thank you to everybody for showing up to the race. It was pretty fun, other than the final straightaway. And thank you to you guys for putting us on the map here on what is Maconi Entertainment on YouTube. So yeah, thanks to all those people, and hopefully I'll be back up here, maybe one position better next week.
Of course, it's always a pleasure to talk to them. I'm sure we'll be talking to quite a bit this season.
Yes, sir. Hopefully.
Once again, that's Alex Anderson coming away second tonight. Third spot tonight went to Christian Leonard. And Christian, it was a question up here on, would you be the one that gets the assist from Hawthorne, or would we see the battle? We've seen the battle. Your thoughts on that run to the finish as you and Hawthorne hooked up and gained a lot of time?
Well, I do want to start off by thanking him for that. He's the best teammate I've had in anything ever, any league. He was on. He had right sides, I didn't, and yet he took the time to push me up there to try to help me get top two. So I want to thank him for that. But man, I'm so mad at myself. On the last pit stop, I overshot my box twice. I overshot it once and then backed up and didn't back up enough, and that was why I ended up behind the 67 in the first place. So I probably would have gotten it had I not done that. But it's much better than what happened at Daytona. I didn't blow an engine this time, so I suppose I'll have to take it, get back in the swing of things before I win another race. But I want to thank 67 for a good hard fought battle there. That whole race was really fun. I want to thank TKC for hosting as well. Thanks 7 for pushing me up there. I got close, but we'll have to try to move on to Vegas and see if I can't get one there.
Yeah, your thoughts on Vegas coming up in terms of what style of race we get there, but better yet, how you feel about the track in general.
Vegas, with the exception of one Gen 4 race I did like 4 or 5 months ago, has just not been a good track for me. I tend to have lots of problems there, so I wouldn't expect to run all that well. I think we'll see a race with just, it'll be a lot more, it'll be a lot closer together. Auto Club has a lot more tire wear, so I expect we'll be a lot closer. But with this car and with that track, I'm going to be holding on for dear life from Drop the Green.
On that note, then, anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Once again, I want to thank Seven Hawthorne. I want to thank the guys on my team for talking me through a strategy. I didn't end up going with the strategy that Seven did. I should have gone with it. He was right. I want to thank them. I want to thank TKC for putting these races on. And I want to thank you guys for the awesome broadcast we get to watch back every week.
Once again, Christian Leonard coming away in third tonight. 7 Hawthorne, Alex Anderson, Christian Leonard, top 3. I'd like to thank him for taking time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. Braden, what are your thoughts on tonight?
I mean, once again, we talked about it. 7 Hawthorne wins. I mean, that's been the headline the last couple weeks, but not in that normal dominating fashion. Only leads 2 laps to get the win, but he led, the most important lap there, and I don't think anyone really expected or thought he'd somehow make up all that time late in the race, and he did, and that's just what 7 Hawthorne does. And he's going to be a championship threat all season long, and so far, early favorite to win the championship. Got to go to 7 Hawthorne.
We'll see how things go next time out, but before we get to that point, I'd like to remind everyone tonight's action brought to you by many partners. That includes Extreme Zone, also brought to you by Endurance Karting, and also brought to you by Red Mist Podcast. Once again, we'd like to thank them and their support for TKC National Series Racing. On that note, the next time out, as talked about, is now for the Vegas side of things. That will be an 8 p.m. start. Once again, for the broadcast slate, 8:15 is the green flag scheduled starting time for that race. May the 20th is the date. Be sure to buckle up and tune in from Vegas. On that note, we also like to thank the race sponsor for tonight's coverage, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partner, the Touring Kart Championship. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Pritz, alongside Brandon Lester. Christian Hill was our producer. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's action, and we hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for bringing this race to you tonight. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you from Vegas next week.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.